Yeah, no, it hasn't been easy. Obviously, conditions are very, very different to what you find in South Africa. The pitch, as you're well aware, the standard of the pitches are not great, which obviously makes it much harder for the players. We want to try and play a brand of football that is entertaining. We want to try and play a possession-based game, and on pitches like this, it becomes very, very difficult. So but I've experienced that as myself. Having been in Africa, in a number of countries, and this is the norm, So what we can't do is use it as an excuse. It's our reality, and we have to adapt, And the players today showed me a lot of fight and desire to win the game, and you got to find ways of winning that game, even if it becomes ugly, because ultimately that's what it's about. The more games we can win 1-0. The more chance we stand at finishing higher up in the league. Plus the confidence and the morale of the team starts growing. And today, I think, wasn't such a great performance, but I've seen us moving in the right direction. A lot of new faces, which is what you would have seen, that have come in. And now those players obviously getting an understanding of our playing style and the way how we want to play this season. High intensity game. That's the type of game that I want us to play, and we had moments of that, But the fight has to be there throughout the season.
Yeah, I know you had so many offers. How did you choose Kotoko and your target for Asante Barrow?
Yeah, no, obviously I like challenges. As a coach, I've been involved in clubs that have been in relegation battles, and I've managed to keep them up. I've been at clubs that we started with 5 players. It was a brand new club, and I had to then build a team, and we ended up finishing 3rd in the league that season, qualifying for CAF Confed. So those challenges are challenges that I enjoy. I started an academy when I was at Wits University, a football academy, and I built that academy, and working through those type of projects excites me. So speaking obviously with Stanley Menzo about the project, for me, it's the type of projects I like to get involved in.
So from you.
What you see today, I can shout, I can scream. I want to win games, and I try and pass that winning mentality over to the players. But at the same time, I'm here to teach. I'm here to help the players improve their game and ultimately manage them. I think the discipline, both on the field and off the field, obviously that was an issue when I arrived, but I think we've dealt with that really, really well. We've got rid of the rotten element that existed in the club. And today you can see everyone is united, everybody's fighting for the same cause, and it's a positive thing to see.
You've got experience here in the team. Richard Boydou, there is Dalad Ibrahim. What are you looking forward to see from them as the season progresses?
Yeah, leading. They need to be the leaders. They need, their experience, both of the league and obviously also abroad, is going to be beneficial to some of the younger players. We got 3 youngsters. You saw Abu, you got Lawson, you got Afori. They're youngsters that have come up from the youth, and they need to be led in the right direction. And the senior players need to take that responsibility on their shoulders to teach the youngsters and maintain that winning mentality.
So, Coach, will you say that your team is ready, or should we expect some ins and outs?
No, there's, you can never say your team is ready. We've been working, what is it now, just over 4.5 weeks. A lot of new faces, as I said. So there's still things that players need to learn in terms of how I want us to play. We got, 10 days left before we really get down to business. The game against Heart of Oaks, that's going to be a massive tester, I think, because they are a very, very good team. So it's still work in progress, in my opinion. We're still looking to try and strengthen the squad in 1 or 2 areas where we think that we are still lacking. So there should still be at least, another 2 players coming in.
So far, you've been here for a couple of weeks and you've worked with the team on a few things. What's your assessment of the club in terms of the finances, infrastructure?
I think the backing the club has given me has been 100%. Really, really 100%. Stanley and myself, we've been doing a lot of scouting, looking to bring new players in, and we've got the total support and the backing of the club and the chairman. And that is important. but we will be judged obviously once the league starts. That we do the right purchases, that we bring the right people in. That's just a hard fact of professional football. So these are the opportunities that we have to obviously request certain elements from the club, and then once the season starts, now the onus falls on myself and obviously the football director.
It's your first Premier League team you've played. What's the level of the team you want to be? Where would you think the team is in terms of where you want it to be? Which level is it?
We're not at the level that I think we're at to already start saying, well, we're going to compete for the league. I think there's still work needs to be done. This was a good test, I thought, today. A very, very good test. We have another game on Saturday, very important, and then obviously the Hearts of Oak, and that will be our last preparation game. I know it's a cup competition, but I still see it as a preparation game because the league is the most important aspect for us as a technical team and as a club. We want to be performing at the highest level in the league, and I will then be able to gauge whether we can or whether we can't.
Do you think you have the material to win the league? Sorry? You have the material to win the league this season?
I think we have the material to compete for the league. That's important, Rome wasn't built in a day. Reality is in football, especially you're dealing with human beings. You're not dealing with a product. And those human beings have personalities, have characters, have good days, bad days, and we have to deal with that and hopefully get the best out of them come the end of the season.
Coach, your first season in the Ghana Premier League, what targets have you set for yourself as a coach in terms of?
Exactly. The target is to finish in the top two. That's the target. I didn't come here to just earn a salary. I came here to win things. That's the most important thing. I came here to win things. I came here to achieve things. I've achieved things in my coaching career and I want to continue achieving. I'm a very ambitious person. So, yeah, you're going to see me like you saw me today. I'll be very animated on the bench. But at the same time, it's my passion and my desire to want to achieve and win things.
Coach, you are coming to work for a club who have very passionate fans, maybe the biggest fan base in Ghana and Africa at large to some extent. What message do you have for the fans going into a crucial season where they won nothing last season and this time they're expecting something?
Yeah, obviously the fans are obviously disappointed with us, the failure of the club over the past 5-6 seasons, but what becomes important, I support my team through good times and bad times. It shouldn't be just through the good times. So they need to come to the stadium, fill the stadium. I think that has dwindled since the team hasn't been winning. Fans now don't come to the stadium, and that's not really going to help the players. If the fans come into the stadium and they fill the stadium and they support the players, that is what's going to help the players. So that's what we want to see. Even if we start poorly, it's a long season. You're not going to win the league because you won your first league match. It doesn't work that way. It really doesn't work that way. It takes time, and like I said, you build the confidence, you build the morale, you build the team unity, and when that happens, then you stand a greater chance. And that unity cannot only come from us as the technical staff, us as the board of directors, the players, the fans. We all need to be united.
Which one of the things that's affecting, especially the top two clubs in Ghana, is players' attitude and how they comport themselves. Disciplinary issue. Is there something you are doing to keep players in checks, measures, rules? Now, guard players in terms of their attitude and how they manage themselves as players for something.
Yeah, I think we saw issues at the club when I arrived, when it came to discipline. And when I talk about discipline, it's not only off the field discipline, it's also on the field discipline. And in fact, for me, on the field discipline is probably even more important. But to just blame players, I don't think is right. There's a lot of deeper things that leads to ill discipline. So a lot of small issues that may exist in a club will end up being a big thing, if that makes sense. And very important that we make sure that how we, the environment that we create is a professional environment. Because if we create a professional environment, it forces the players to behave professionally. Yeah, as I mentioned before, standard of the pitch it might not mean a lot, but massive importance. How are you going to improve a footballer on a pitch like this? You're not. You're not going to improve him because he's got to take 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touches. Sometimes he's got to take 4 touches, loses the ball, he gets criticized. I can't teach them a lot when we're playing on poor pitches. And the disappointment that they have in their faces, you can see, when they make their mistakes. And a lot of times I can't blame them because of the standard of the pitches. So that's something we're working hard at the Sante Kotoko to have a training pitch that is of a high standard, high quality. You create that, players will enjoy training a lot more. Players will enjoy football matches a lot more, and they'll feel less pressure when they're playing on those type of pitches, and that's one thing that I think is lacking in Ghana and needs to improve. Other countries, Ivory Coast, pitches are very good. Tanzania, pitches are very, very good. Morocco, pitches are exceptional. Algeria, I've been there. Egypt, the standard of the pitches, South Africa. And I compare it to here, that's an area that has to improve. And that needs to come obviously from the Ghana Federation and obviously also needs to come from government to help.
We wish you the best as an Asante Kotoko coach. We are the media guys. You'll be seeing us a lot. We'll be in your faces. We'll be asking you questions.
Hopefully,
we hope that we are going to have a good time. We wish you all the best, coach.
Thank you, coach.